Brittany Renner went on Shannon Sharp's podcast and said that she had 35 bodies.
Shalom Mansa, how you doing? I just wanted to kind of chime in on the conversation. I had heard a little bit about the Shannon Sharp podcast and all that and everything. And before I even go deeper, by the way, young brother, my brother, just wanted to let you know, praying for you, suspected you were going through something, didn't know what you were going through in your personal life. I'll leave it at that. If you ever need somebody to talk to, let me know. It's hard, but you're going to make it. Like you said in your video, you built for this. All right, that being said, I wanted to chime in a little bit because I think there's also another perspective that we miss. The assumption, and I'm not talking about my brother particularly. He did his thing. Go listen to what he had to say. I'm just chiming in, all right? One of the things that's missing is I think that we just have these, it's like Republican, Democrat. When it comes to the whole body count conversation, all women are made to be devils because of their body count. All men are applauded because of their body count. Is there a lot of that? For sure, but there's a lot of us that don't do that, by the way. For example, I was a virgin till I was married. Because of my culture, it's important to keep your purity. Right? I'm not going to act like I never had any pornography issues or anything like that, but I was able to maintain, as far as penetration with one's phallus into a woman's garden to plant seed, I was able to keep away from and stay away from that temptation until marriage, right? And I'm coming from that perspective because there are some brothers and sisters out there who are mature enough to comprehend, because whether or not the person I got with was a virgin or not was not necessarily my mindset. And I think there's something that's weird to me in this conversation is that we're only dealing with, like we do with Republicans and Democrats, you got to be far right or far left as if there's nobody else. Sure, would it have been nice to have had somebody who was a virgin, yada, 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 but it wasn't my mindset. My mindset was to be the purest version of myself, to be the best version of myself, to be worthy of a wife. So when I found a wife, I found something to help me to obtain favor from the Most High. Now, if for you that's too religious or whatever, so be it. But I don't think people recognize that sex is marriage, marriage is sex. And so for some of us, we come from a different perspective. And even by law, by the way, if you walk down the aisle with somebody and you guys do not consummate your marriage, you can go back before the judge and say, we haven't had sex. The judge will say, marriage never counted. Why? Because sex is marriage, marriage is sex. Whether you want to live by the law or not, or do some things that are legal but not lawful, because not everything that's lawful is legal, not everything's legal is lawful. So, there's a lot of people who are out here talking about body counts, this, that, or whatever. Now, I will definitely agree with those who say that people who are looking for body counts and saying that's the reason why they can't get with somebody is immature. However, I think it's immature to get to a place to where you're not thinking about body counts should matter for you personally at all. And the reason is because there's something called soul ties, right? Even people, let's not even go into biblical stuff. How about people like Lady Gaga, who said that she's afraid to have sex with people because she recognizes that when she does, she has ties to these people. That's a fact, right? DNA-wise, your DNA intertwines. If you have a child with the person, the father's blood is going to be kept inside of the mother. And when the mother gives birth to the baby's DNA will mix with hers and hers with the baby's, right? This is the intention of sex. And I think it's a part of the thought process we're not having. Now, look, what you choose to do is what you choose to do. Can I say that right there? You have a choice, but with every choice comes an invoice. And so it's like, if it wasn't even sex we're talking about, if I have friends, if I have people I talk to on a regular basis, their words affect me, period, right? And my words affect them, period. And if I don't want bad things to affect me from them, then I need to check my boundaries with them or see if they're even worthy of being my friend. Right? And we have this weird situation where it's like, hey, go do what you want, but don't think about any consequences that come with it. Now, are some of the consequences things that like society is going to say women are whores, this and that or whatever? Unfortunately so. Are there going to be some consequences that are going to make men think that they're better than what they are, depending on how much sex they have? For sure. But also, let's not act like society, male and female, do not both boost that up. And it's not because we do it, it's because we were taught to do this. Let's not act like in our diaspora specifically that there are not brothers who were taught that by watching slave masters do that and then take their women. Let's not act like there were people, if you want to take race out of it, who just didn't see fathers who were going from this, that, or whatever, and grew up with fathers that were a Rolling Stone. And somehow, some way, we just go, up, that's to be forgiven. And we just go, yeah. And by the way, I'm not saying don't forgive, but we just act like, yeah, that's to be forgiven. But let mama slip up one time, and all of a sudden, we look at her bad because of what we were taught. There's more to it than just, simply this or that or whatever, right? Even when it comes to, and here's a taboo situation, but even when it comes to abortion. A woman has right to do whatever she wants to her body, but we haven't even thought about the fact that who taught us that it was all right to start calling something that becomes a human being not a human life, so that we can go ahead and say that we shouldn't say that people are offing people. If you choose to off somebody, then choose to off them. If you say you're offing what's inside your body, then off what's inside your body. But to act like you're not offing a living being is questionable. And you have to ask yourself, when did that change? See, I'm always about going back to the original intent. If we're going to go back to the origin of something, we got to go back to the original intent. If originally in our minds, what was inside was a baby, right? And before I get too far into the weeds in that, people are saying, now you're getting further in this and that. Some of y'all getting upset. But I say all this to say, once again, sex is marriage. Marriage is sex. Sex is intended, regardless of how you feel about creationism or evolution, etc. Sex is intended to make sure that two become one, that out of those two becoming one, that life might be able to continue to go on, and the legacy of humanity might be able to go to another generation. That is the reason why it exists, right? That's the reason why sex is there, regardless of if you feel it came from random stuff evolution-wise, or you feel like it's a mandate from the Most High and how he created us. It is what we are supposed to do to create life. And I feel like we keep forgetting that should be part of the conversation, is, are we doing things that help to create life? Are we going to do things that help life? Right? There's no life in this conversation. That's why it's so annoying, a conversation, because it is a lifeless conversation. People want as many body counts without fruit. You want seedless fruit, but the definition of fruit means that it has to have a seed, right? So you want to keep having seedless fruit, but seedless grapes are not organic. They are inorganic. Why? Because in order to be defined as a fruit, you must give seed. Tomato is a fruit, not because it's not something that you don't put with your vegetables, but it is a fruit because it has seed. Right? A banana is a fruit. Why? Because you're so used to eating the seedless versions, but go get a real banana, right? Banana, and you will see that inside of it, it has seed. Right? Anything that we're doing that doesn't have seed is fruitless, right? Get an apple. Why is the apple a fruit? Because it has seed. If the fruit has seed, watch this. Not just, see, we have this weird thing. We even, in a scriptural sense, right? You shall know the tree by the fruit it bears. But the reason why there's importance in that is because the fruit is not designed just so you can say it tastes great. The fruit is designed so that somebody would go to the tree. I know we're used to going to the store, but the fruit is designed so that somebody would come to the tree planted by the rivers of water, would eat of it, and possibly even take it a little further so that the seed, the legacy, might be able to be planted in the ground a little further down the road, right? But we're having a seedless, fruitless conversation, an inorganic experience, trying to get organic things out of it. We don't know how to harvest from the ground, to go back to the nature, to go back to what's natural, which is, we shouldn't be concerned about body counts, not because it makes somebody less of a woman or less of a man or more of a man or more of a woman. We shouldn't be worried about sex, using sex to be able, just like you shouldn't use social media for this, you shouldn't use sex to be able to say, this is my independence. Because sex is supposed to be interdependent anyways. If it's independent, then we call that something that rhymes with grape. You shouldn't be worried about getting an independent experience in out of sex. It should be something to help you with interdependence. It should be something that causes the ground to mix with the tree. But we're so worried about trying to win an argument, the Republican-Democrat thing, the left versus right. Go back to what is righteous. Stop trying to be right. The body count thing is bad, not because it makes you better or worse person. It's bad because it goes against your nature. Just a thought. Shalom, family. Peace.